Welcome into another episode of Behind the Wheel, sponsored by Bobby Rahal Honda of State College. Go check their showroom out on West College Ave, and we are in a beautiful new 2024 Passport. So, one of the nicest interiors ever. My guest, my girlfriend, Sarah Jackson. Sarah, how you doing?
Good. Handshake? The dead fish.
It wasn't a dead fish. Come on, stop that. I was giving you like a nice.
The little.
Yeah, the little that one.
I see. Okay.
Doing a little.
Oh, there we go. That's better. That's better.
How are you doing? We had to get you. I figured it was time. It was right before the season, so I was like, all right, it's time to get Sarah back on the channel. I think the first time we had you on, you were the first ever training table video.
And I think it still has the highest views out of all your training tables.
It does. You even topped Nick Dawkins, so I'll have to text Doc about that one. He also watches the video, so I don't know. Maybe Doc will tune in, but yeah, you're still sitting there. I think our video's close to like 5,000 views, so it's definitely up there. We'll talk a little bit. We're gonna preview the 2025 season with Sarah here, and no one else hears more of my content, of me studying tape and all that, than this one right here. Unfortunately, she will wake up at, the likes of 1 a.m. and just see me on my computer watching film.
Yeah.
This is true?
Film junkie. But that's a pastime for me.
That's true. That's true. For anybody that doesn't know, Miss Sarah here is the daughter of Kenny Jackson, legendary Penn State wide receiver. So you are, you've been around. Yeah, Shank they call him. He was an ultimate film junkie. I mean, you're used to like having a guy scream watching film growing up, because obviously you were young when he was coaching wide receivers at Penn State, but then he went to coach the wide receivers at the Steelers too.
Right.
And
don't forget there was golf film a part of that too.
Yes, yeah. Well,
rewinding different swing planes.
Yeah, for those that don't know, so
8 years old, that's pretty rough to go through.
When did your dad start you in golf?
I was 5. It was right after Tiger had won his first Masters, and he got the idea in his head that I'm going to play golf. And he took me out to a driving range it was off of 322, right before Phillipsburg, if anybody knows. I'm sure the locals know what I'm talking about. He took me out there. Nobody in my family on both sides played golf, and I naturally took to it, and I've been playing ever since. And I've taught you a few things. I mean, when you accept my teachings.
Yeah, I've always
Not
said,
like I wasn't a PGA, graduate from Penn State's golf management program. Forget that. What do I know?
I think everybody can agree it is borderline impossible to learn anything from your significant other. It's so frustrating, especially when they're just like better. And it's not anything. You kick my butt every time we go out and golf.
But
and
sometimes you get me. There's those moments.
Back a
just
little, like a couple times. Sarah, the big thing that I give Sarah credit for is when everybody knows I had to retire in the fall of 2023, and I didn't even know this at the time, but we would always go golfing in the fall, and she would always take me golfing at like 5 or 6 p.m. right around when practice was, to like distract me from the fact that I was like missing out on football. So golf was our little thing to kind of get away, and she does indeed kick my butt, and that's but we have fun when we get out there. Before we get into the season, Sarah, I figure we'll tell the folks. They might as well know, because I'm sure you'll make many more appearances on the channel in the coming years and so forth, of how did we meet?
How we met.
How we met.
Telling them this story. Well, it would have been March of 2023. Probably a month, not even a month prior, maybe 1 to 2 weeks prior to that, I started working for the NIL collective at the time, Success with Honor. And I had gotten my boss, Carrie Small, one of the besties here.
Shout out, Carrie.
And he said that we were invited to the football team's networking night that they usually do in the Mount Nittany suite in the stadium. And so he couldn't make it, but I went in his stead. And so, it was the first time I had met the guys on the team properly. And there was a guy who came up to me in a Ralph Lauren black mock turtleneck and earrings. And he says to me, "Mike Poorman told me to talk to you."
Shout out Poorman.
And I said, "Oh, you must be a graduate student, because there's no way you would just approach someone and be congenial and talking." And then I figured out that you were on the squad. And ever since then, I figured out that, Landon, you were going to be the one to help me get the guys do their deliverables on their contracts in the locker room.
Yes.
You were going to be the in-between for me. But then, moreover, you wanted to be a part of NIL and just networking in general and figure out what you wanted to do. So we actually became really good pals. And we would talk on the phone probably once every 7 or 10 days and just exchange stories of the madness of the adults in NIL and all the faff and
as you guys can imagine, the NIL world is insane. Yeah. No, we were completely platonic. I'm sure everybody's in the comment section. Oh yeah, sure. No, we actually were completely platonic for good 6 months, I would say.
Well, so Landon told me that later on, after we started dating, we were platonic for 8 months?
Yeah, at least, probably, because we met in March and it wasn't until almost the fall.
And, there were times throughout that he admitted he would give me flirting eyes and stares, and I was oblivious. Because I didn't think there'd be any way that, because he's 9 years my junior, I didn't think there'd be any way he'd be interested in me, but I was wrong. So.
Yes, that is our story, and here we are going into a little over 2 years now. So it's been fun. Have you watched my story where I talked about where I kind of went through everything with retiring and getting back, and I always talk about Sarah and her mom. That was how it happened. You guys would have, you would always have people over for dinner, and when I was going through everything, they invited me over and were like, hey, just come hang out. Like, if you need somewhere to go to just, get away from everything, just come have dinner. And then, I continued to give Sarah the flirty eyes, and then, one thing turned to another. Here we sit.
Not only would we go play golf, you would come and, I have 2 bulldogs and a Brussels Griffon mutt. So he would come over and see all those goings on with the animals. And then we actually took a trip to Newport in the fall.
That was fun.
Of that season. It was when we were playing Ohio State away. And I said, I was like, let's get out of here. And then even before then, for the whiteout, my mom and I had to go to a wedding out in Dana Point in California, and it was with our really good friends, and we were like, well, we asked Landon to come with us.
I know, they were
shack with us.
Guys were at the Ritz and stuff. I'm like,
it was at the Ritz in Laguna Niguel, and we were like, come on.
I was like, no, that's all right. But no, so that was the other thing Sarah did. We went on 2 different little mini excursions during the year for the Michigan and the Ohio State game, because it was just a lot for me to be around at that time. If anybody remember, I kind of went 0 dark 30, and then it was the spring game in 2024, I guess. Yeah, 2024 that I re-emerged from the depths of social media and actually got back involved with things. But at the time, I just didn't really want to be around people. And Sarah and her mom, Ruth Ann, were awesome. And
it was getting annoying because I wanted to, I was starting to get to the point where I was like, okay, well, I'd like to go out for dinner.
Yeah, I didn't want to be seen. No, I didn't want to be seen. I was like, no, I'm away. I'm away. So there you guys go. That's your little story into Sarah and I here. Sarah, let's talk a little football for a second. Oh. You were here. So when was your first year here? You were your first year was the sanctions, right? Or
yeah,
when everything happened?
Yeah. So my first semester at Penn State was fall of 2011. So that was right at the beginning of the sanctions and all the, everything happening. And then I graduated in May of 2016. So I saw the sanctions and just coming out of the sanctions and all of that. It was quite a time, but it was very, for all those who remember those times, it became, especially being in State College, we really rallied behind everyone. I remember in 2012, it was fun of 2012. Everybody was nervous that we weren't going to break the previous year's record for fundraising, and I think we beat it by at least $2 million over. And that was a huge deal. And then once that kind of happened, everybody was like, okay. And then that was the whole campaign of Penn State lives here, and, we're not going anywhere. And, we bounced back.
We did. So, I just want to give that background. When Sarah was here and you got to experience the lows, and obviously you were here when your dad was coaching, and we were pretty good in the 90s and whatnot. Obviously, he was the wide receivers coach on the 1994 team, although you were a year old, but still. So
I was there. I was at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, you were there. You were a little baby, but you were there. So coming into this year, you've been around for all of it. What are your thoughts coming into this season? How are you feeling about it? Give us your little synopsis on coming into this year.
I am optimistic because I will say, let's just go into the greater sphere of college football. The SEC for years has been talking about how they're, the predominant conference and they can beat everybody. Well, we now see with it being, close to an NFL style setting of it being playoffs and whatnot, they're not as good as we thought they were, and it's,
Preach.
because let's be honest, their regular season schedule, they're playing lame ducks towards the end of their year. I mean, the Big Ten, we're like killing each other. And then when we get to our postseason, we are barely hanging by a thread because we've been thumping on Wisconsin, or Nebraska's been thumping on us. And, so.
Alabama's playing Mercer in like week 11 this
right.
year. So.
I mean, that doesn't make any sense. So, but it all, comes out in the wash in the postseason. So that's good. That's evened out the playing field now. I think we're optimistic. It's hard until you see people play because, again, we're in this transfer portal age where you've got people coming in from here and there and all these kind of mishmash teams.
A lot of new quarterbacks are all around. At Penn State, we got a whole new wide receiver group. Like, you never know who's everybody thinks everybody's going to be good because everybody wants, those transfers in their mind that they're going to be good. But like you said, you don't actually know until we get out on the field. You don't know.
I mean, it's hard to, in the NFL, you can get an idea of who's going to be good and who's not going to be good. I would say even more so now in the NIL age with college football, you're dealing, like, I know y'all act like you grown, but let's not forget, these are 18 to 20, well, probably now, 25-year-old
right.
boys.
Used to be 22.
But y'all, I mean, come on. Like, you haven't really, it's not there yet. So we just don't know. And you guys keep developing each season. So it's kind of like you really don't know until everybody plays week one.
I'm with you, at least. And, obviously, our real first test won't be till week 5 because we have those 3 kind of slack games.
Off.
Yeah,
smack
off
I mean,
games.
you got it. It's nice. It is nice to have those, games to just have a warm-up. But, I'm optimistic. I think we'll probably perform the same way we did last season. I don't know. Do you have any?
The big ones, I mean, we got the Oregon whiteout.
Sure.
That's going to be big. Haven't had a real whiteout like that in a while. The biggest one, I think, to everybody, just because Oregon, we've only played 2 times. The Big Ten championship was the 2nd time in history. Biggest one is like, I feel like we have this PTSD of like, the idea of us winning in Columbus is like foreign at this point.
Yeah, here's the problem. There's always a problem when the whiteout's a little too early. Because what happens is, so you'll probably remember when Auburn came to town for the whiteout. Whoa, that was like week 2 or 3.
Yeah, it was 3, yeah.
So it's kind of like, it was like an early crescendo of the football season. And then you've got to get the same sort of motivation for the rest of the season. That's a lot. So I'm a little bit worried that when we play Oregon, because it'll be such a big deal, that we might lose steam in the second half of the season.
Right.
That's a bit of that, because you can do that. That I wouldn't be surprised if we lost the next game or it came really close to us losing the second game, because it just takes so much out of you.
Yeah, when you have those emotional games. Yeah, no, you're right. And like we got one that, like, I think a big one is, and we have a bye week in between, but we have at Iowa, and we all know you do not want to be.
They throw popcorn and cabbages and tomatoes onto the players, but then 5 minutes before they're waving to the children with cancer.
Yeah, they throw the pig's head. Our boy, friend of the show, Keith Conlon, talked about they threw a dead pig's head on the field during a game.
Let's not forget these Iowa people. These are the descendants of the people on wagons dealing with the Native Americans. God knows what they had to deal with. So, them doing things like that, that's not far reach. I mean, I've got a friend from Michigan who's 4 times great-grandmother. She survived being abducted by the natives.
Oh.
So, these are the kind of people.
That's a hell of a story.
Yeah, and clearly she lived because,
Yeah, the
My
Iowa
friends don't
people.
like, but they're the same kind of thing. They're
Yeah,
kind of savages.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, you don't want to be. You don't want to be in Iowa when it gets dark. Not like that. I'm talking about on the football field. It
No.
gets.
And the
that
other
was,
thing too is that how many feet is it between the?
None.
It's right there.
There's
It's almost
none.
like a basketball.
We had to when
court.
in 2021 when I was there because I was a true freshman,
Holding
so
a
I was on the
clipboard.
sideline. The young offensive lineman had to make a shield for Coach Trout so he could write on the board, and the fans weren't like right there like throwing stuff at Coach Trout and like screaming like right in our face. There's no stadium that's more close to the field than Iowa is, and like I still tell people, like I said, I forever Beaver Stadium, greatest stadium out there. But gosh dang it, that was the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life in Iowa.
It's like going to a basketball arena where everything's really close together. It's the same premise. Just because there's not that many people there doesn't mean it's not going to be loud.
Yeah.
I guess to segue into, I do have some questions
What do you
for
got?
you.
Oh, you're asking me? All right, let's flip this around.
Well,
What do
you
we got?
are the film guru.
Oh.
And, 4 Downs, everyone.
Oh.
Remember to subscribe so
Get
you
ready.
can watch his 4 Downs. Thank you for the advertising plug, Sarah. I think one of my questions is, a big one for me, is we can all agree that Tyler Warren last season was a one-man band for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
He was a wide receiver, he was a tight end, he was a lineman, and he moonlighted as a quarterback. We don't have that this year. I'm not saying that nobody will step up to the plate like that, but I mean, it's going to take a season or two if Luke Reynolds or any of them are going to be able to do something like that. Do you think that Nicky, how do you think he's going to scheme this now? Because he's going to really, I mean, we do have Katron and Nick, and they'll be fantastic. But after a while, you're going to have to stretch out the field a little bit because people, other teams are going to catch on.
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to have a lot of confidence? Well, do you have confidence in our passing game?
That's a good one.
Coming from a wide receiver's child,
Okay.
my nose is a little out of joint.
I know, clearly.
From what I've seen.
We might, yeah, we might have to get Kenny on the show to talk about this one. No, I mean, yeah, that's the biggest. I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's completely revamped wide receiver room, and as far as those, I was actually just talking about that on something that's going to come out. I don't know when. I have so many videos going out. I don't know when gets posted what, but I was just talking about that I think Trevor Pena, the Syracuse transfer, he did a lot of that gadget stuff in Syracuse's offense of taking end arounds, even threw 2 different passes, being that guy, being the gadget guy. I think Nicky will look to him to fill that kind of void of not having Bo too. I mean, Bo was part of that gadget offense as well. Bo's gone to Missouri. So
isn't that crazy? There's been so much going on and everybody moving around us. I completely forgot for a split moment that Bo was on the offense.
Yeah, I know, right? It's been a long off season, a lot of moving pieces. So yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I mean, it's on Drew Aller to make this work. We know what we're going to get out of the running game, and what we're going to get from the offensive line. I mean, they're going to be elite. It's especially in those big games. Can Drew Aller put it on his back a little bit? And I guess a big piece of that is obviously the wide receivers. How is Kyron Hudson? How is Devontae Ross? Going to begin to develop? You got Tyseer Denmark is a really young guy, so that would be my. I don't have a foolproof answer, but if you're especially talking about Tyler Warren, Tyler Warren almost talked about this when I had him on when he was golfing when I visited down in Florida. He was getting ready to punt the ball at USC, but we had a false start. We messed it up. But yeah, he was getting ready to punt the ball as well.
Yeah, that's one thing he didn't do.
Yeah, he would have
If he had
added.
done
Wait,
that-
no, he did.
He did? Oh, that's right.
He had that,
Yeah.
and it was bad. He was mad about it. He was like,
Sure.
he said, so he told me about it. Something got messed up, and he was like, dude, you know how Tyler gets sometimes. So we he's like, man, it was gonna be good. Something happened, and it was he had a 25-yard punt, but he was feeling good. He said about the USC one, but unfortunately we had a false start and ended up just actually punting the ball. But yeah, I'm excited. That's the biggest. If you want me to be honest, that's the biggest question and answer. If Drew Aller and the wide receivers can be on, and Luke Reynolds, you mentioned, Luke Reynolds, you're right, it's going to take at least a year for him to, I don't really think anybody will play at Tyler Warren
No,
level.
I mean, that's not going to happen for a minute.
But for him, Luke Reynolds could still be really, really good this year. If they can all connect, those 4 guys, and really get in a good rhythm, get a couple of the other tight ends involved too, I think this offense could be borderline unstoppable. I think we could be talking about one of the most explosive offenses since 2017. Not going to put it up there with 94. Not going to disrespect the 94 team. That was
easy.
That was the best offense in college football history. But I
Yes.
think it could still be really good. So that's kind of my synopsis on that
Okay.
one.
Well, I'm going to be keeping my eyes peeled on Marcus Hagans and the gang and see if they'll actually
All right.
get over the hump, because that's what it's going to take for us to beat Ohio State. It's
Tough
just going to
critic.
it's just going to have to be.
You
We're all watching this and we're all seeing the same thing that has to be done.
you and Kenny
So
Jackson
just
both keeping an eye on the
Waiting
wide
with bated
receivers.
breath. But okay, that's my little bit of angst. The
All
other
right.
question I have on the other side of the ball is, now that we don't have the outrageous Abdul Carter,
So
who
good.
do you think will step up to the plate on this DN and in the linebacker area? Because it was a little touch and go, the linebacker part at the beginning of last season. It was. And, I thought that was a very smart move to move Abdul to defensive end. He was incredible. I mean, he played in his last college game with pretty much a dislocated, broken, snapped, paper clipped, stapled, duct taped arm.
Yeah.
And was pretty much probably should have. Was he? He wasn't the MVP, was he?
No, he probably would have. If we would have won, well, if he would have won, he would have. He very well could have been.
Yeah. Who do you think will step up to that? Because we're gonna, that's gonna be another thing. If those two pieces, I think our secondary is all right.
Yep, secondary's looking good this year. People are
But
excited.
if we need like a solid, we need two animals. We need one on the end, and we need one out.
I mean, the answers at defensive end is denied Dennis Sutton. Now, my biggest thing, and I've talked about this, is that every year the really good defensive end has had someone very good across from them. And this is the first year where Deny doesn't necessarily really have that. We got our boy Zariah Fisher, shout out Fish.
I know, make it, don't get injured.
Yeah, don't get injured, please, Fish. Stay healthy, brother. I am just a little bit, worried that just, obviously, like I said, he's had 2 season-ending injuries. The other guy, Max Granville, was thought to be, hey, it's okay. Max Granville might even end up taking over that position, and he's going to be a stud. Goes home, training, tears up his knee, gone for the year. So, very unfortunate there. So, the answer's Deny. Deny's going to be an animal this year. I'm excited to watch him play. But the one thing I'm worried about is that they are going to be overly focused on Deny, the offensive coordinator, the opposing offensive coordinator, and say, hey, let's take him out of this game plan. And we can leave the other defensive end one-on-one, no problem, and not be that worried. So that's why I need Zariah Fisher. I mean, it's actually not being talked about that much, that Zariah Fisher, it is a lot of weight on his shoulders this year to perform.
You said when you went up against him in practice.
It's really good.
Yeah, that's
really
what you
good.
told me.
He was super shifty, and like his inside move as a defensive end going inside, he got me a lot as a young cat. So I'm excited to see what Fish can do. And finally, I know he's been working his butt off, and one of the nicest guys you will ever meet too. So
He's a good guy.
I really hope Fish has a great year. And then the obvious answer, my boy Dom DeLuca, we know what we got in Dom. He's always going to get himself a pick six, a couple turnovers. But the real guy, we need that guy. Abdul Carter was tracking guys from sideline to sideline. It was just impressive. Tony Rojas has that ability. And I'm even actually, if you get to this point of the video, hopefully you guys are still watching, working on a film breakdown that'll come out soon on Tony Rojas. And I'm actually showing you, there's so many plays. He had a really bad missed tackle rate. It was around 20%, which is not good for a linebacker. A good percentage is around like 10 or even less.
Sure.
But there's so many tackles where you could tell he was playing with a torn labrum last year. That's why he missed spring ball. He couldn't even use his right arm to tackle.
Okay.
And I'm going to show that on the tape, of him literally trying, and he swings his arm, and it won't wrap because he can't use it.
Because he can't, yeah.
So I think that was a big reason. And when that's happening and you're missing tackles and you're getting mad at yourself, it affects all of your game, because then he's mentally in his head like, God, I'm messing up. I can't, it's not working, all this stuff. Right. And so I really believe that a healthy Tony Rojas this year, just the athletic ability, his speed, his twitch, like I am really excited for Tony coming into this year and being kind of the leader captain of that defense, of being the guy, being kind of that Mike linebacker. So I think that's going to be big. And like I said, we're going to need him to be good in coverage, but also be able to cover sideline to sideline and track down those, jet sweeps, those outside zones, that type of thing. That's what I need from Tony Rojas this year. I'm excited about it. And then obviously we picked up Amari Campbell out of UNC too. He is a very good tackler, and I think he will be a lot better. He was in a destructive UNC defense, to say the least. They gave up 70 points to James Madison University. They're an ACC team, and they did that. Yeah, it was bad. So coming to here, I think it's a better place for our boy Amari Campbell. So that is our little synopsis. So,
well,
Sarah.
good. That was a very good answer. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
The dead fish, everyone.
Not dead fish. That's just, you got to turn it. So when you're handshaking like a woman, instead of going like this, you kind of, you do like the rotate and like, and kind of give him like the rest.
Well, that used to be a thing. I have to say that Landon has very old school, old fashioned, almost Downton Abbey-esque manners when it comes to me. He always pulls his chair out for me, opens the car door for me, opens doors for me in general. The other day I was in the store by myself and I stood in front of the door waiting for it to open, and I'm like, oh yeah, my man, isn't he?
You're too funny. Well, I appreciate you for coming on, Miss Sarah.
Thank you. I know you are you going to have me on again for my?
I don't know. We might have to Sarah likes to critique, so we might have to have her on like a film breakdown. Yeah. I don't know after some of these games, see what happens. Let me know. Yeah, we'll have to hear from the people. Let us know in the comments.
Tell me.
Let us know when you want to see Sarah on, what you want to see Sarah do. If you want to see us do something else, let us know. We even talked about. That sounded bad.
Yeah, no.
No, nothing like that. Stop bad. But if you want to see us like do other types of videos, not like that again, let us know.
Yes.
I think it'll be. I think we enjoy having you on. You got the Kenny Jackson blood in you. Maybe one day we'll get Kenny on. We'll see. Maybe Kenny's watching this. What's up, brother?
That's a hot take. That will be.
But no, yeah. Let us know, and appreciate you coming on. Let us know down below if you guys enjoyed this one. Like, comment, subscribe. Come to Bobby Rail Honda of State College. Check it out. Peace.
Bye.